Greetings and welcome to the Homeless Consultant channel. My name is Paul B. I am the Homeless Consultant. And before I start this video, I want to just show you something, and I'll make a call back to it a little later, okay? I'm just going to turn the camera around here. I would just like for you to notice, if you can see, I don't know, it may not autofocus properly. In this huge parking lot there are two cars. One is an employee car that you probably can't see, it's parked and it's dark. The other one is that car that's more or less facing me with its headlights on. And it has been doing so for the last 15 minutes or so. So I'll just leave it at that for now. We'll come back to that a little later, okay? What I want to talk about is a phenomenon that I have experienced, that I've talked about in some of my videos, and I want to give you some video evidence of it. I understand that people may not want to view my longer videos, but I work very hard to provide good content and to pack these videos full of interesting and relevant information. And I try to make it fun the best I can. I try to document things the best I can, so that you're not wasting your time watching my videos. But when I see a video like my video called What It Is Like to Live in a Car, and I see that it's getting very few views, I get really nervous. Because what it is like to live in a car, if you don't get that from my video, where are you going to get that information? If people aren't watching these videos, it makes me think, well, they're just not interested in it. And if you're not interested in what it is like to live in a car in 21st century America, then I have to wonder if people are interested in the homeless problem at all. In that video, I show you a video of, well, I show you this video of this car in an empty parking lot where I'm the only car there, just like tonight, and look at what this car is doing. Now, if you have an explanation for what they're doing, I would love to hear it. In the video, What It Is Like to Live in a Car, I give the full description of what happened with that car. But suffice it to say that they did this for 32 minutes. I only filmed the last 8 minutes, and I compressed it with time-lapse into the 2 minutes that you're seeing, or I'm sorry, the minute and a half that you're seeing here. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to talk about that. That's another problem I have. A second problem I have in these parking lots is cars that, again, when the parking lot's completely empty and I'm the only vehicle here, or I'm the only vehicle in, a large segment of the parking lot, cars just pull in right next to mine on either side, and the people just stare at me. They stare at me for a few minutes, and either I get so creeped out that I just go running, drive away, or after a couple minutes they tear out, back out, and they leave. Once again, if you have an explanation for that, please put it in the comments. I would like one. Because if I didn't know better, I would almost think that these people, who, by the way, are all housed, these are not homeless people, I would almost think that they're the threat, not me. I would almost think that they're the crazy ones, not me. I would almost think that they're the ones who are out to intimidate another human being, not me. Now, what I'm getting at is this. When I establish myself in a parking lot, and by establish myself I mean that I found a place where I feel comfortable enough, where I've been there for several days or possibly a week. Now, this place I've been here for quite a while, several weeks. And when that happens, the people who travel that parking lot frequently or daily, they figure out quickly that there's a homeless guy living in their parking lot. They see me sitting there all the time. They see my car sitting out in the no man's land all the time. They see it's full of stuff. They see me sleeping in it. They figure it out. When I'm established in a parking lot, a weird thing happens, other than the two things I just mentioned. And this doesn't happen when I say just go to like a brand new Walmart I've never been to before. It doesn't happen in that case. I mean, it might happen randomly, but statistically it doesn't have the statistical significance that this does, what I'm going to describe. And what I'm talking about is this. Let's turn the camera around again and see what we find. Okay, so oops, I don't know if you can see the camera's tipping over. Once again, we have the employee's car is nice and dark over there, and we have the car with its headlights pointed straight at me. Alright, now, when I'm established in a parking lot, what happens is, out of an entire huge empty parking lot where I'm positioning myself as far away from other people as I can, when almost all day long, I'd say about 50% of the time at least, cars come into this lot, and without ever touching any of the businesses around here, they come into the lot and they position themselves straight in front of my car, within this narrow range in front of my car, pointed straight at me with their headlights shining straight into my eyes. And they do it for 10 minutes, half hour, an hour, 2 hours, and then they leave, again, without ever touching any of the businesses here. Now, they could park in any of these empty parking spots. Hundreds of parking spots are empty right now. They could park there. I'm going to show you this next video. The next video is what happened earlier this morning. This was recorded from 12:32 a.m. until 1:18 a.m. So it was 46 minutes, and I've compressed it with time lapse into 2 minutes. And this is just a typical example. There's nothing extraordinary about this, perhaps except that he was pretty far away, like this car right now. Usually they're much closer. Usually they're in the one of the two lanes right in front of me. So they're literally feet away from me with those headlights straight in my eyes. Now the thing is, they have a choice when they enter this parking lot. They can park in any of these parking spaces, and they can rotate their car in any of 360 degrees. Why then are they always pointed directly at me and usually very close to me? In other words, they're always within this range. They're not in this whole chunk of the parking lot. They're not in this whole chunk of the parking lot. They're right in this little range, and they're pointed in this direction specifically with their headlights on, even though they're not moving. My headlights are off. I don't need them. I'm not driving, you see. I'm not going to run over anybody because I'm not moving. Kind of like this guy here. He's not moving, but he has his headlights on in my eyes. And so the video that you're seeing right now is time lapse, and the reason I did the time lapse was I want you to get a feel for what 46 minutes really is like, of having someone shine their headlights in your eyes. Because I get that about 50% of the time, all the time. Day after day after day after day after night after night. You can see all these cars buzzing around in the background, going about their business. They come in, they shut off their lights, they go into the store and do something productive, then they come out and they leave. They're gone. Sometimes someone has a phone call to make, or they're waiting for someone, and when that happens, they're parked in random directions. You know, they're facing that way, they might pull off for some privacy over here. They don't park in the one area that's directly in my eyes with their headlights on, because they have a purpose. They're on the phone, or they're waiting for someone in the store or something. But the people who just come into this parking lot and they have no purpose except to position themselves facing me and point their headlights at me, and then they leave without ever touching these stores. And I don't know why they're doing it. I only know that they're doing it. And it's really creepy. Just like these guys who pull up right next to me and stare at me. Just like that person doing the circles in front of me for my benefit, because there was no other car in the parking lot that time. Who's really the threat out there? Is it me? The guy who's just sitting in his car minding his own business, trying to get something done, trying to sleep? Or is it these people who have homes? Who is it? Because you know what? Let me show you something. Not only is this guy still here, but another one just rolled in. Okay, so that time I was wrong. See, I knew if I jumped the gun, I'm going to get in trouble. This is an employee, my bad. they had their headlights on me. But the guy who was there in the first place, he's still sitting there. So it has now been maybe a half hour or so. I can't even estimate how long that guy's been sitting there with his headlights pointed at me. Again, he hasn't gotten out of his vehicle. He's not going into the store. This is what I deal with all the time. But if I pull into a parking lot I've never been in before, doesn't happen. I mean, randomly, you'll get a random car that might be facing me with their headlights on, but statistically, there is no conceivable way that I can have cars facing me that often in a parking lot where they have so many options to do something different. This appears to be for my benefit one way or another. And it's only after I have established myself in a parking lot where people know that I'm homeless. What do you think is going on? I have my ideas. What do you think? Here we go. Let me show you. And there he goes. Do you see him leaving? He never went into the stores. He just came into the parking lot. Yep, lost my LCD. He came into the parking lot. He sat and faced me for what, half hour with his headlights on, and he just left. He's not the one I filmed, by the way, earlier. It is now 3:30 in the morning. So from 12:30 to about 1:30, I had that car doing it. I had this guy for the last half hour, and I've had a couple shorter ones in between. Now, I'm not, being paranoid and saying these guys are out to get me. It could just be some kind of bizarre... Again, Minnesota has a real passive-aggressive thing going. They might just look for any car they see, and here's my opportunity to cause pain and suffering, maybe, if there's somebody in that car. So I'll point at them and keep my headlights on. If there's nobody in the car, no harm, no foul. If there is somebody in the car, cool, I got to, make somebody miserable. Because that's how Minnesotans behave. I'm not from Minnesota. It could be as simple as that. It may have nothing to do with me being homeless. But if that were the case, again, statistically, I should experience the same thing when I go to a parking lot where I'm not established as a homeless person. And that isn't happening. I'm a pretty good observer, and I've done everything except maintain a detailed logbook to try to flesh this out. If you have an explanation, put it in the comments or send me an email. I would love to hear it. But from my perspective, I could care less what the explanation is. This is creepy, it is threatening, it is intimidating, and it is terrifying. Because I'm totally exposed in this car of glass all night long, every night. And I hope these videos help you understand exactly what I'm talking about. With that, I'll just remind you, please, if you can, view my longer videos, especially that one, what it is like to live in a car. I really worked hard to make those things valuable for you, so I hope you'll take a look at them. I try really hard not to waste your time in there. And I'm going to not waste your time here. I'm just going to say thank you for watching, and I hope you'll be back for the next video. As always happens to me, I'm in a parking lot that is essentially empty. There's nothing anywhere near me. And yet somebody always parks facing me directly with their headlights on, and they leave it on for maybe an hour or more. Just sitting there with their headlights on.